Hey, what's up, Ketzerf here. So in this video, I want to share with you guys a quick but very satisfying story that comes at the expense of Hasan Piker. Now, if you've been paying attention over the past couple of weeks, Hasan has been desperately groveling at the feet of
Ever since my dermatologist recommended you start Radiant Tone, I'm kind of obsessed with the results. I just keep getting better.
If I were him, I'd bundle my home and auto and pick up the real victory, savings.
How are we still alive at the end of chapter 5? With us now being 5 chapters deep into the Poppy Playtime series, not only do we still not know the true identity of who we're playing as, but there has been one question that has grown more and more apparent. How are we, the players, still alive in the Playtime Co-Factory? We don't eat, we don't drink water, we've fallen down what seems to be hundreds of feet and landed on the top of our neck, got stabbed through the chest from the back, dropped in a vat of poppy gel, and seemingly shocked back to life by Giblet. So after all we've been through, how have we managed to survive? Well, in order to answer that question, we need to start at the beginning and go over all that we've been through in the past 5 chapters. To start with, little to nothing happens in chapter 1. We don't go through any significant physical injury, and based on the short length of the chapter, hunger or thirst wouldn't be a problem. In chapter 2, things get more physically demanding, but we still aren't really injured. Hunger and thirst may be an inconvenience at this point, but they're unlikely to be an issue. Chapter 3 is where things start to get rough for the player, because we inhale copious amounts of red smoke throughout the game, which negatively impacts our mental functioning via hallucinations. It also could have potentially caused physical injuries such as lung damage, making it much harder to battle experiments and traverse factory floors. Kissy Missy also pounces on us after we leave Home Sweet Home and slams us into the ground. Not that it's her fault, she was scared and didn't know if we were trying to hurt her or not, but it doesn't change the fact that our back was probably hurting after that encounter. Speaking of backs, fix your posture right now and go ahead and subscribe while you at it. I caught you, and I've never done this before, y'all. I'm gonna drop 2 images, no context, and you're just gonna know what to do moving forward. Got it? All right, cool. And I'm not done talking about Kissy Missy's strength. That slam could have broken a bone, couple vertebrae even. And in chapter 4, we have even more injuries. The relentless attacks we've gotten from the many smiling critters and huggies, and the fall we suffered at the end of chapter 4 when Kissy tried to save us. In regard to the second fall, not only do we land on some sharp looking rocks, but you can literally hear the sound of us free falling through the factory. Oh, dang, we just landed head first on some rocks. For our falling to create noise means we have landed rough. Now, chapter 5 is where the player took some real damage. After a long chase sequence with the prototype, we end up having to jump from the moving train we're on. Now, I gotta give the player his props. This could have been a situation where he just fell on his head and died. But right after, we're stabbed through the back of the chest by the prototype. The player's tolerance for dealing with events that likely would have killed anyone else is unreal. And what do we like to call it, y'all? 2 words, drop it in the comments. So all in all, looking back at everything that's happened, we can conclude that we've been through a lot. And how has none of it managed to kill us or at least noticeably affect our endurance throughout the series? Well, there are several possible explanations to our survival, which I'm going to categorize under human or non-human. First, let's take a look at the human or more realistic explanations. To start with, chapter 3 explains away one of the main concerns: fall damage. During the game, we find the Grab Pack 2.0, which includes air jets with a tank attached to the back, the purpose of which is to reduce the impact of a long fall. So this likely made the 2 major falls in chapter 4 inconsequential, falling slowly enough to avoid landing too hard on the rocks. But you gotta look at the air time we got off the bounce. I don't think the air jets did it. But moving on, the second human explanation as to why we're still alive revolves around one bodily chemical: adrenaline. Adrenaline is a very powerful chemical that the body produces during flight or flight mode. I just said the same thing. Since the player is constantly faced with murderous experiment after murderous experiment, we can assume our adrenaline is running at very high levels. Its first use in the player's situation is negating the need for food or water for a short amount of time by rerouting the brain to use stored energy for fuel instead. So it is technically possible to function without food or water for a couple or few days, but adrenaline can't last for forever. 3 or so days is about all the player has before we become at risk for something known as adrenaline burnout. When the body is consistently producing adrenaline for a long period of time, give or take 2 days, the adrenal glands that produce the chemicals start to get worn out and eventually shut down. At this point, the player can expect extreme fatigue, significant cardiovascular strain, body aches, and a weakened immune system. So the adrenaline could have protected us so far, but if we aren't careful in this next chapter, we might start to feel really bad and have a much harder time trying to leave the Playtime Co factory. Now, can we use the bathroom? Because I've seen a huge containment chamber thing with one toilet. It had one toilet. That's all I'm trying to say. However, the regenerative properties of the Poppy Gel could have reset our adrenal glands, but I'll get more into that in a bit. The second purpose of adrenaline has to do with us constantly encountering and running from experiments. Over the past 2 or so days that this series has lasted, we have encountered so many experiments that have wanted to kill us. And just to name a few: Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, Bunzo Bunny, all the mini Huggies, PJ Puggy Pillar, Catnap, Mr. Light, Dog Day, all the mini Smiling Critters, Hartley Sawyer, Yarnaby, Baba Chops, all the mini Nightmare critters, all the Sawyer's robots, Doe the Domain, Huggy Wuggy, again, all the wrong side Automals, Lily Love Breeds, and the prototype. We have been through it. We've been through it. Suffice to say that our adrenaline is popping off at the moment. So not only could all that adrenaline help us get away from all those experiments, but it could also have really given us a hand when it came to injuries. Adrenaline is able to temporarily minimize the effect of pain, and based on the amount we probably have, we could ignore a broken bone or a concussion or a couple of broken vertebrae from the back for a solid amount of time. So not only does adrenaline allow us to escape from experiment after experiment, but it prevents our body from being worn down over time and even possibly dying if our injuries were bad enough. But to finish this point off, back to the topic of Poppy Joe. We would still die from our injuries after the adrenaline wore off, but the Poppy Joe could have fixed all of that. It could not only mend our wounds, but reset our need for food and water and allow our adrenal glands to work properly again. In this case, the prototype actually saved us, even if not intentionally, but the credit has to go to my man Giblet. He shocked us back to life and he wasn't a hero. Apparently, he was. Now, if the prototype had impaled us and dropped us into a vat of Poppy Joe, it was only a matter of time before we succumbed to our thirst, injuries, and lack of consistent adrenaline supply. The Poppy Joe gave our body a fresh start, allowing us to healthily continue on in chapter 6. Now that we've covered the realistic human explanations for our survival, let's move on to the more non-human explanations. The first non-human explanation is that there is something protecting the player, a supernatural force. This is all but confirmed for us at the end of chapter 5, right before we're shocked back to life by Giblet. We get our first canon death screen in the series, so we can assume that the other death screens we get throughout the series are also canon, or at least of the same nature as the truly canon one from the end of chapter 5. I don't know why I didn't breathe. Based on things this voice says, such as "you don't get to die yet" or "you're too perfect to lose," we can assume that they're willing us back to life, or rather preventing our death. And this line is reminiscent of what we hear from Poppy in chapter 2, which may just be tying into our role in this whole playtime toy war.
You're perfect. Too perfect to lose. I'm sorry.
And the player is not allowed to die until they complete the mission that is described, which isn't confirmed, but likely saving the orphans or blowing up the factory. And if that plan is still somehow set in motion or is even a tidbit of a thought in Poppy's mind, she has to go along with the factory. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.
This is the most premium USB microphone that I've ever tried. This is the This is the Beacon mic, which has a really clean design. I'm pairing this with the Beacon Mix Create, which gives you a ton of control over your audio sources, as well as the Beacon software, which gives you a lot of customization with both products. These premium products also have a premium price tag, so I'll use these products for a premium price tag. Products also have a premium price tag. So I'll use these products for about a week and make a part 2 where I give my thoughts on whether or not content creators and people looking for a highly customizable audio experience should get these. This is the most premium USB microphone
Do not listen to that.
Thank you, man.
I know how it feels.
I personally have a Shiba Inu. I hope there's a Shiba Inu meme in here. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. A little for funsies. How dog breeds react to robbers with pictures. Oh, a Doberman! They just look scary. My mom's friend had a Doberman. He was scary as fuck, but he never did anything. There's Satan's dog.
Sup, bro?
Friend!
What are you doing?
Robbing you?
Okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll show you where she keeps her jewelry. Wrong house.
Sammy's! I want one. They're so cute.
Oh, get sauced!
Get slimed! German Shepherd.
Oh, so it's that kind of night, huh? No.
Oh, that reminds me. One of my really. Really good friends in high school had a German Shepherd, and it was a girl. I forget her name, but she would get super car sick when we would go out on rides. Oh my god, she'd throw up everywhere. Husky. Ah! Huskies scream a lot. Oh no! They're the police dogs! Yeah, get them.
Hello?
Chow Chow! That was what my friend had! They're super grumpy, super defensive.
Hello, is someone there?
Hey!
Hello?
No, they're aggressive. They're pretty aggressive. You have to train them really well. Hey, friend! Hi. Oh yeah, the snoring boy. Ugh. This smells stinky.
Really?
Wrong
house.
I'm out of here,
That's what I thought.
bitch. Yeah, they're super anxious.
What are you doing?
Oh, that reminds me. I just remembered my aunt in Moscow had a boxer named Gerda. Gert. Yeah, she passed away from old age. She eventually passed away, but she was a really good dog. Super loud when she would bark at the door. Yeah, they're super droopy.
I was gonna steal from you. Well, that's not very nice of you. Are you okay? It's been pretty hard, man. Hey, in the words
She
of
was a
Miley
really
Cyrus,
nice
nobody's
dog.
perfect. Come on, let's talk about it.
Aww. Oh. Meow.
time, bitch. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. Come on, fight me. Fight me back. Fight me back.
Jack Russells are, they have such a great personality in my opinion. I don't know, there's such a head.
Hair buckle bears. Ooh, I love these. The ones where I chew it, but fruitier and fruitier.
Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. Despite the general feeling this past week, best summed up by that dog sitting in a burning house meme, there was, in fact, a fair amount of tech news, and since big distractions are trending, allow me to divert your attention towards NVIDIA. You'll never guess what Jensen and company got up to this week, unless you guess that they continued to arrogantly wallow in the heady fumes of their own AI-powered success, trickling out the weakest possible GPU updates for gamers, whilst somehow still completely dominating the video card market, because that guess would be correct. Also, the PC market is crumbling from the foundation, DRAM bots are scooping up what little memory there is left to buy, and setups like this are soon to be required for PC builders so they can monitor hardware prices closely enough to avoid getting scammed by rampant price spikes. And yes, I have some good news today too, but you can't have your pudding if you don't eat your tech news.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Thermaltake's View 600TG full tower chassis, featuring 4 tempered glass panels that provide an unobstructed view of your PC and support for massive 420mm radiators for AIO or custom cooling. Available in 5 distinct and unique colorways, including Future Dusk, the View 600TG also supports hidden connector and eATX motherboards and includes an anti-sag GPU bracket and past, with very good reason, of laying the NVIDIA criticism, or NVIDIA-iticism, on pretty thick. But if it were true that I, who hold such dominant sway over the sentiments and predilections of the PC hardware community as a whole, had cast unfair aspersions upon the most noble Team Green, then surely gamers everywhere would be seeking alternative GPU options, and this report from John Petty Research on PC graphics market share would not exist. Numbers for Q4 2025 are in, and NVIDIA has 94% market share when it comes to PC graphics add-in board shipments, up from 92% in Q3 and 10% up year over year, proving, apparently, that AMD's plan for Radeon GPU GPUs, of abandoning the entire high-end market, waffling about feature support, constantly selling the few 9000 series cards they did launch for well above MSRP, and completely forgetting Radeon GPUs even exist in the past few major CES keynotes, has not been very effective. Intel is, at least, still clinging desperately to their 1% share and deserves marks for consistency. In the face of such dauntingly fierce competition, it is unsurprising that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang came off as fairly unconcerned in a discussion during the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference this week, even regarding the shortages of memory, power, and other computer hardware that NVIDIA has largely helped to foster, Jensen said, "Scarcity is good. I think the fact that everything is scarce is fantastic for us," the NVIDIA CEO says. "In a world of constraint, you have no choice but to choose the best." So does that mean you do have a choice or you don't? Well, never mind that on the other side of that world of scarcity, the weakest players in terms of buying power and choice are individual consumers. And you might think, wow, Jensen doesn't think much of PC gamers who bought NVIDIA GPUs for the past couple of decades, but I disagree. I don't think Jensen thinks of regular gamers at all anymore, unless decisions about gaming GPUs somehow impact the data center side of their business. At least he didn't try to eat one of his own GPUs this week, I guess. Regardless of all this, there's still only one short-term hope for the PC hardware market, and that's an AI crash. But even there, we're reliant upon NVIDIA's decisions to a large degree. At least for now, Jensen says the recent investments in OpenAI and Anthropic are likely to be the last, but don't give them too much credit. right. Remember, those recent investments were a $30 billion commitment to OpenAI made just last week. And no, there was no GeForce GPU discussion during that interview. The only ghost of a rumor of something new on the gaming side was actually from Micron this week, who referenced the next wave of discrete GPUs in an article about their 24 gigabit GDDR7 memory modules, which run at up to 36 gigabits per second and have 50% more capacity than the 16 gigabit versions. The article somehow laments the lack of GPUs with more memory capacity while completely ignoring Micron's role in the current global shortage. But as far as can be told, this was probably written to hype the new GDDR7 in the lead up to the RTX 50 Super GPUs being announced, and they just decided to still publish it, even though NVIDIA canceled or indefinitely delayed them. Allegedly. But if those new GDDR7 chips with 50% more capacity do exist, I'm sure NVIDIA will choose to use them.
Oh my god, this is insane. L'Oreal Extensionist Mascara.
Twitch canceled me.
Well, happy whatever day it is, but it's not quite the happiest day, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting this to happen today. It just kind of feels like every time I'm about to go on side scrollers, the day before something happens. I guess this is the second time.
Yeah.
And it just kind of sucks, man. There's just a lot going on in the background. There's too much. It's one thing after another after another. If you're the person who did this, or you're part of the group that did this, I just want you to know right now that I'm not scared of you. I'm not terrified.
They're gay.
I don't care if you continue to do this, by the way. You can continue. I genuinely am not scared of you. I've gone through way worse in life than what's going on now.
It's gonna get worse.
If you want to continue to be demonic, if you want to continue to be, I'm not going to say the other term, keep that quiet for now. If you want to continue to do that, you're going to have to do a way more damage than that to get me to bend the knee. I just want you to know that I'll still be praying for you.
She's got some crazy fucking people after her. Like, you have to understand, like, these Quangos they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
Repent.
Lord Marshall, thank you for
possessing your mind right now. You let go of. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like me, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm not a stranger to being disliked by people, or being betrayed by people, or being thrown under the bus by people. But know that I don't hate you, even if you hate me. But if you're here, you probably know that today I got a 7-day suspension from Twitch for hateful conduct, and that's all I know. Today, while I was at work, right before I had another client call, went to
They don't even tell you why. Like, you can't even figure it out. So this is the thing that like really bugs me about this entire thing, by the way. There's multiple things, and I've experienced this myself before. I had this happen to me on Discord a long time ago, but
This was like the argument I had with them. I said, and I'm sure this myself before. I had this happen to me on Discord a long time ago, but this had this happen to me on Discord a long time ago, but this was like the argument I had with them. I said, and I'm sure this just makes sense what I'm saying, right? So if your actual interest, right? So let's assume the motive here, right? If your actual interest is we do not like bad behavior, we want to punish bad behavior, and we want people to know the bad behavior so that they can fix it, right? Because why else would you tempt someone? Like, you might as well just perma, right? You might as well perma people. Like the whole point of a temp ban is so that people can reflect on what they did wrong and then fix it in the future, correct? That's the whole reason. Otherwise you just execute people, right? So them not telling you what you did wrong doesn't actually achieve the purpose of actually rectifying the problem. All it does is make you confused as to like what actually
When it was time to add my son to our car insurance, I was scared to even think about my wallet.
I recently modified a couple of these little keychain cameras to accept interchangeable lenses, and while it definitely didn't increase the quality of these at all, it was still a really fun experiment just seeing what crazy huge lenses look like on these tiny cameras, and really just testing lenses that would never ordinarily go on these. Well, today I have even more things I want to do, so I have more cameras I want to modify, I have more experiments I want to run. But first up, I have to fix something. So I have a little issue with this G6 thumb camera that I didn't realize until after I finished modifying it. It has this little blue LED light down here that when you record video, it basically just flashes blue, you know, the whole time you're recording. However, because of the way I modified this camera, the light from this LED actually spills onto the sensor and basically just has this blue look over the entire image that just flashes on and off continuously when you're recording video. Now with a brighter image, you don't notice the blue flash as much, but in any sort of darker setting, the entire image just literally flashes blue every few seconds and makes it almost unusable. Now I do have more I want to do with this camera specifically, so I definitely got to get that fixed, and there are a few different ways I could go about doing that. Okay, now that we have this fixed, I picked up this 2x teleconverter to use on my 420 to 800mm lens. If you saw my last video, you already know how crazy this combination was paired with this keychain camera. This thing has almost a 10x crop factor paired with a 420 to 800mm lens. As it is, this setup was pretty ridiculous. It was basically a mini telescope on the end of this camera. So of course the next thing to try is a 2x teleconverter. So I have the 2x teleconverter on this 420 to 800mm lens right now. This should right now be equivalent to a
Never hide your Reese's eggs in a basket. I mean, come on. It's the first place they'll look.
Top hiking fears. Snakes, bears, pollen. Pollen? Not so much. Allegra, the fast
If you're seeing this video, it means that your feed has already been infected by the Speaky virus. But what is this creature and how did it get popular? In this video, I'm going to explain its origins, how it got popular, and why the mere existence of this creature is a miracle. Because the game it originates from was shut down by the CEO only 1 hour after official launch. This is Speaky, a character from a game called Trickle Chibi Go. Wait, doesn't that say Revive? Yes. The game has different name for international and domestic release. I will touch on this a bit later as it has a funny reason. In the gacha game scene, a lot of studios will cater towards more traditional anime styles with adult themes, but to differentiate itself from its competitors, the game promotes itself from having cute art style and a unique mechanic of being able to squeeze the cheeks of every character. Yes, that is the selling point of this game. As of uploading this video, there are 115 characters. So why did Speaky in particular get popular? In November of 2025, the Japanese version of the game had an update, and the following scene was included. Didn't you say Japanese version? So why was it in Korean? While the Japanese version was very good on its own way, many of the players thought the Korean version for this particular scene encapsulated Speaky as a character so well. Here's a quick comparison. After the update went live, many of the Japanese players shared Speaky clips across social media, gaining mass traction. It wasn't until some users rediscovered an older shorts by a YouTuber named Tricket YouTube. The video was made by combining the voice lines from the event and a scene from Season 1, Chapter 7 of the main story, where you can see Speaky on her knees crying. Combining addicting voice acting and bullying a character triggers something in people's brain that makes them want to poke fun at it. It spread like a virus, creating countless fan-made content around this lobotomized version of Speaky, which people started to call Speak for short. The fan-made content ranges from high-quality animations, Speak documentary, to unhinged Speak sorting algorithms. Yeah, f***ing sorting algorithm. What even is this fanbase? While Speak is fan-made, there are some characteristics that are agreed upon by the fanbase. She likes pumpkins, the color orange, and likes to move in groups, and has a few lines that she likes to say on repeat. Okay, now that you know where and how it originated and why it got popular, but remember when I said it was a miracle that Speaky existed? That's because the game died before. Let me explain. The initial launch of Trickle was a disaster. There were way too many problems with the game's systems and management. Epic Games, the studio behind Trickle, went into total lockdown mode, and a few hours later the management announced